Hey, how you doing? I hope you're doing all right. Okay, so on today's video, I'm going to show you how we can go from this form that it only has two columns, but it's hard to look at it. It doesn't have a good user experience, and frankly, it's just very distracting for the user to something like this. All right, so this is much better, right? So what are we dealing with here? We have a multi-step form that, as you can see, it is indicating us the current step. We only have four input fields. We have a back, we have a next button, we have validation, and frankly, this is the way to do it in 2024. So as we progress through the steps, we can fill in different information. So on this video, you will learn to do this, to validate, to use the single responsibility principle from the solid principles. That means that we are going to extract all of the business logic from the form, and we are going to place it inside of a custom hook. That means that the JSX return of our form is going to be very clean. That means that all of the business logic, how to handle the form, is going to be inside of the custom hook. We are going to use Next.js, TypeScript, Zod, React Hook Form, Shadcn UI, among other stuff. So if you like it, please just leave a comment or leave a like or something like that. Hope to see you around. All right, welcome back. So the first thing that we need to do in order to work with multi-step form, Next.js, and all the other technologies that you saw in the introduction video is really just to start a Next app. So I'm going to fire up my terminal. As you can see, I'm already on my projects folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use pnpm, and I'm going to say pmpx create next app at latest, and I'm going to call it multi-step form, and that's gonna prompt us with some questions. And we're going to use TypeScript. Of course, we are going to use TypeScript. Slint, yes, give me that. Obviously, mandatory. We are going to use Tailwind. Yes, I want to use the src directory, and we are going to use app router. We are not going to use a different import alias because later on we are going to use Shadcn. Oh, I need to update my pnpm. I'm getting close to maybe a breaking changes after version 10. Okay, whatever. All right, so as I said on the introduction video, this is going to be a multi-step form, but I'm not going to do the typical I show you first and then we go from that. So I'm going to build everything from scratch. And first of all, we're going to build the mockup. So let me go ahead and I'm going to cd onto this project. So here we go. And after I'm here, I can do code dot to open up everything with Visual Studio. And after I'm done here, I can do pnpm dev, and it's gonna fire up the localhost, the server. All right, so as you can see, we are using Next.js 14. That's good. All right, so let's see what we're dealing with. Just gonna. All right. Oh, they changed the landing page. All right. I think it looked better the old one, but it still works. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so what we need to do now is let's go to our app folder. Yes, we are going to see here we got our page, and if I remove everything, if I do, I don't know, just for now expand and say oh look, the new slint is already warning us that we have unused import. Yeah, nice. This is nice. I liked it. Okay, so if you do, I don't know, multi-step, yeah, there we go. Great, that's what we like. All right, so yeah, you don't need to worry about that. Maybe that's because yeah, an extension or whatever it's called auto rename or auto close tags, something like that. Okay, so before continuing, I wanna use Shadcn UI. If you don't know what Shadcn UI is, it's a component library that it's built on top of Radix UI, and this guy Shadcn, he did a pretty awesome job with it. So let's go over to the documentation. Let's go to the installation, and there we go. Here we have our commands, and I'm going to select pnpm. I've got a flock of birds here making some noise, quite good. All right, so let me stop the server. I'm gonna install my Shadcn initialization, and yeah, default style, yeah, let's go with New York. I like neutral. No, I don't like to customize it, but let's just use the default CSS variables. It's gonna install our dependencies. It's gonna give us a nice JSON file. All right, and let's take a look. Yes, so yeah, here we go, our components JSON. Yeah, this is all from Shadcn. All right, so what we need from Shadcn is, let's install a card. So we are going to install this one, the card, and let's install the form. Yeah, here we go, the form, and really take a look at what we are dealing with here. It's not just normal stuff. We are going to use React hook form and Zod. So it works best with these two libraries. I mean, pretty much you can use whatever validator library that you want. You could use maybe Yoop validator. Never used that one before, but I'm more familiar with Zod. So let's go ahead and let's install this bad boy with pnpm. All right, so let's install the form, and all the components that you are installing from Shadcn, you see that it is installing and it actually creates the source file. So that's the, like, a good thing and a bad thing behind Shadcn. Shadcn gives you the source code for the actual file of the form, of the button, of the label. So you got the source code of those. That means I gave you the source code. If something goes wrong, it's your problem. I mean, but usually it doesn't take much to get things going on. Okay, so, and now if you collapse everything, you will see that under the source file, you will see this components page, and this is the main component that's used, and you will see a folder here called UI. So this is installed from Shadcn, and as you open them, you are going to see that you got a lot of code, a lot of things going on, and you will see that he's importing stuff from Radix UI, and then he's customizing everything with the class variant authority, and that's pretty much it. And he gives us by default some variants that you can use, and you can also customize it as you see fit. So that's really good from such Shadcn. I believe that this work that he did got him a job in Vercel, but I don't know. I don't want to spread misinformation about it. That's just one thing that I read in a blog somewhere. All right, so we got the form, and what else we might need? Do we have the input? No. So let's install an input just for this. So we have the input. Yes, sir. Let's go. All right. So pnpm. Bam, input, and yeah, and as we're here, why not just install a select? So where are you? Select, there we go. Okay, so we got a file select. Where's the installation? Yeah, okay, there we go. So let's install the select. Alright, installing dependencies. A lot of birds going on today. All right, so back to our code, and finally we can start the server again. So let's do pm dev. It's gonna start the server. We can close the button, and here on my home, let's just say that I'm going to create a new components page, or let's just group everything together, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call it component with underscore. That means that we will not be able to access this component folder through the browser, because as you know, everything that you place inside of the app source, you can access it. I haven't tried the fonts actually. I guess so. I really should experiment with this. But I have experimented with the components page, and you can actually access the component, just the component, if you type it on the URL. Okay, so obviously we don't want to do that. Okay, so here I'm going to just say a new file. I'm going to call it multi-step form.tsx, and I'm going to use this snippet, and I'm going to call it I don't know, multi-step form, and I'm going to return yeah, okay, Copilot, I give you that just for now. Okay, so now in our home page, if I bring here our what was it called, a multi-step form, and we save it, we shouldn't be seeing any other thing that the multi-step. Yeah, there we go. So this works. So maybe what we're gonna do now is we want to add some CSS. We can use a main here, some semantic HTML, and we can say flex, age screen, justify center, item center, and it's gonna bring everything to the middle. No, or maybe I just need to refresh here. Yeah. All right, so that's our form. Great. Things are going good. Yeah. All right, so let's go back to our form, and what we can do here. So let's use Shadcn card component, right? Because we already have it installed. So let's see the card. Yeah, actually this works quite okay. I mean, just for now. Or we could use v0 or whatever you want to call it, and you say a form with multiple inputs like name, last name, phone, email, gender, select, I don't want to deal with the date of birth, because calendars, it's not so easy to work with calendars. Maybe I do another video with that, but ID, or I don't know, let's call it passport. What else can we do? Image, maybe? Nah, not image. I don't know. Let me think about it. All right, so I added some stuff. I added a date, health insurance, payment method, and some other stuff. Okay, so as you can see, this is a problem that I talked about it on the introduction video. Actually, I haven't done the introduction video. This is the first video I'm doing right now, but this is what we are going to deal with. It's a big form, and we don't want this huge form around it, right? Let's see what other examples we have. Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. This actually looks quite okay. I mean, yeah, why the confirm password is down there? I mean, you could arrange in another. It's all right. It doesn't matter actually. Okay. So let's go with the last one, maybe. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. So we are going to use the copy code here, and just for now, let's go on the, yeah, we can use it here. So as you can see, we are going to get some stuff that we don't have it, so we need to install, like the popover, the calendar. Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's install those. Okay, so I already installed the missing dependencies, and yeah, why don't we have the calendar's day icon? Weird. Let me try this out. I don't think it's gonna work though. Yeah, so let's see why it's not working. Yeah, so the calendar doesn't have an export of the calendar days icon. That's some gibberish from V0. Okay. Yeah, the props are not being type saved here. Yeah, so this is the thing with Shadcn. He gives you the source code, but then it's up to you how you customize it. And I'm not going to go through the whole customization of the calendar component, because it will be another video. It's gonna be a long video. All right, so let's save this and let's see how it actually looks like. So let's go over to our app, and before we do that, let me just, yeah. Okay, so we got our form here. It's not bad, but you get the feeling, right? It's a huge form. It has a huge amount, lots of fields, and imagine that you are seeing this on a phone, and it's not so easy to navigate and to use this. So before we do that, let me, because I don't really like this. So let's put a gradient from white to 300 there. Yeah, or let's just say 700. Yeah, something like that, because I don't think that really. Yeah, that's quite bad. I'm gonna actually go a little bit more extreme. Yeah, okay, good. So before we actually do the multi-step magic, let's work with the form component from Shadcn. So we got the header, yeah, the content. All right, so everything that we have here on the content, it's gonna be the fields, right? But actually, we need to wrap everything with the form component. So my question is, would it matter if I wrap the card with the form or the form with the card? So I'm gonna use my instinct here, and I'm gonna wrap this with the form component. And how we use this is, you bring the form component from Shadcn, because you use the hook there from React hook form, and then you wrap that form from Shadcn with an actual HTML form. It's a little bit weird, but that's how things work here. All right, so let's wrap this with form, and you see that I'm going to import it from our components. That's why I didn't change the import alias at components UI form, and it's going to complain already that it's missing something, and what is missing is the form element, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the use form return, so we need to create a form that's going to be the structuring of the use form hook, and then we pass that form. You'll see. All right, so, and now we wrap everything again with a plain form, just like that. All right, so I told you this will be a multi-step form. but we need to do some stuff before. I'm not gonna use the client now. I want you to see the error before I do it, so you know why we do this kind of stuff. Okay, so here's the thing. So we are going to use the form, but before we do that, let me just yeah, let's comment this one out. Yeah, and so const form equals to use form from React hook form, and this one is also going to imply that we are not passing any generic to type this, so we also need to use a schema here, and we will componentize everything. We are going to strip away all the business logic, but for now I'm gonna do it here. Don't worry, everything will look pretty as the minutes go by, and I know that this is going to be a long video because multi-step forms are hard to work with. Okay, so let's need to bring in Zal for this, so let's do import everything as zip from all right, great. So welcome back. I mean, for you it was just a flash like Thanos did like this. All right, so we got ourselves our whole schema. So as you can see, we got the phone, the email, the gender. We got a required error, meaning that if you don't select anything and you try to submit, it's going to say, hey, select your gender, date of birth, or I don't know, the user gender, whatever, date of birth, a payment method that's also a select. Sorry, that's why we are using the required error, and then confirm password, and actually here we also need the same error, right? Yeah, we need the minimum 6. Actually, okay, yeah, compiler, yeah, you do it. All right, so, and I'm gonna leave this one here. All right, I'm gonna say to do validate. Okay, yeah, you see, Copilot already knows my style, how I roll. All right, so, and if you wonder about this extension, it's called anchor comments, I think, and it gives you an array of words with highlights, something like fix me, review, note, you saw the to do, and I don't know if there's some others. So then when you open up this file, you will see the anchor comment, and you can navigate straight to the comment. So that's quite helpful. All right, so enough chit chat. Now that we have our schema, we can use this schema to type our form to give it a shape. So we are going to say z.infer, and then we are going to say again type of create user schema, and this is how we are going to type the form. And now inside of the argument of the form, we are going to pass in an object, and we are going to compiler, come on, we are going to say resolver, and we are going to use a SOT resolver that we need to import, and I think it was SOT resolver. Why is it not suggesting me? Am I doing something wrong here? I don't know, we will see. SOT resolver of create user schema, but it should automatically prompt me to import this thing. Yeah, so I don't know why it is not suggesting me to import it, but if you go to the React hook form documentation, you'll see that it's a default of, yeah, thank you, Copilot. So if you, I'm not using that much of Copilot. I just wanted to show you that I was actually on React hook form documentation, and here we go, the SOD resolver. And you don't need it. You don't actually need to install anything because it's already comes for you here on the React hook form resolvers, as well as the React hook form that's right here. And there we go, our SOD. Okay, so we are going to bring in the SOD resolver from lock the door and turn the light down low. All right, so I think that I probably made a mistake, and as I was pausing and resuming the OBS, the video recording software, maybe I paused and I resumed wrong way, and you missed all this information and all of this. So just to recap, in case that happened, because I'm not that good with video editing, not good at all. All right, so I created a schema. I brought in SOD and the SOD resolver. The SOD schema is created here, and it's an object with all the fields of our form, alongside with a message, with an object of a message, and the message is meaningful to that field. So yeah, and that's it. And then I left a validation comment for the password, because the validation of the confirm password against the password is done here on the schema. I mean, it's one of the ways. And then we expanded this constant form with the set that infers the type of create user schema. So we are using a generic to type the form. So if you hover it, you're going to see that I mean, it's a use form return, but here it has all of our fields, and then as arguments we pass a resolver that is a SOD resolver that we brought it from hook resolvers from SOD. I mean, sorry, the resolvers from the hook form is from the whole package, from the same package, React hook form, and we pass in the schema that we just created. So we create a form, we type the form with SOD with the schema, and then you need to pass the same schema to the SOD resolver here. And then as a second argument, we passed a default values object with all the values initiated to empty strings, or as for the date, a new date as for today. All right, so now what we need to do, we are going to come to the Shadcn form component, and you will see that it's complaining because it doesn't know what is the form. So if we say here, where is it? It's here. If we spread the form, it's gonna stop complaining. How interesting is that? So we are spreading the constant form, and we are using it to pass it with all the props and values to the form component of Shadcn. And then we need a way to submit this. So let's go ahead and create a, there's no surprise with Copilot. That's what I don't like about it. So the submit is gonna have a data that's gonna be a type of Z that infer, and this is the same as you type the form, so keep that in mind. And we are going to say type of create user schema, it was called, yeah. So and for now, let's just do a console log here, and it's complaining about we are not using it anywhere else. So here is where we use it, on this HTML, on this plain HTML form tag. So we say on submit. Yeah, so let's change this. Let's call it handle submit, and we are going to say form that handle submit. Yeah. This was the one on submit. Form that handle submit on submit. Jesus. Yeah. So we are one step closer, but we are not done yet. If we check our app, nothing's gonna change because everything is the same. Oh, and it's quite broken. So npm dev, but nothing is gonna change. Everything's gonna look the same. So you might be wondering, why are we even using forms? It's a good question, because you could just use, I don't know, like plain inputs and functions to capture the value of the input. Yeah, that's right. You could use it, but it's not the proper way to use it. Why? Because accessibility issues on screen readers, and it's not actually that safe to use plain inputs, and even though you can pass in some area props and stuff, it's not really safe. All right, so this is quite a mistake, right? An error. You will see here it says React hook form, blah 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 blah, webpack imported, use form is not a function. And it's not that much of meaningful, this error, but I guess every time I see this, and the first thing that I checked is, yeah, I didn't use the use client directive, because remember that we are using Next.js with app router. So this is a server component, and in server components you cannot use client functions or client components like this one here, use. Remember that use is a syntax or a directive from React to use a hook, and you cannot use hooks on server components. So we need to transform this to a client component, and this is okay. This happens, it's not bad. So as soon as we mark this with use client, we are back to normal. All right, so okay, so give me 1 second to stretch my neck. Oh, all right, so let's get to it. So I know that this looks like a form, but it's not quite there yet. Not if we are using React hook form, right? Okay, so let's transform this into a form. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is, let me collapse every single one of these guys, and let's give some space. All right, so I know for a fact that the first one is what, the name. Okay, so let me just write a comma here, name, and I'm going to do this for every single one of them. All right, so it turned out that V0, or whatever you call it, the AI generator, he or she, I mean, it gave me a grid with no grid columns, and then inside of each individual field he made 2 columns. So I needed to rework that really fast. Nothing to worry about. It's just the card content here is just a grid of 2 columns, and so that means that everything that you put is gonna wrap in 2 columns, followed up by another 2 columns, and that's it. So phone and email is going to be at the same level. Yeah, that's it. All right, so what we need to do now is we need to transform this into a proper form field using React hook form. Using React hook form. So what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna do one for the name, and then I'm going to pause the video and you will see everything there, because it's pretty much the same. Remember that the point of this video is to work with multi-step form, and I'm taking a huge amount of time to show you how we got from 0 to hero. Just to 0 from the multi-step form. Okay, so we need to bring in the form field. Yeah, so the form field, and this is a self-closing element or component. It's gonna complain about some stuff. So let's take a look at what it's complaining about. That it's missing an object, and instead of the object, it's missing the render of the field. And it's need to know that it's a control component or not. Okay, so you need to know that there is a render that it's complaining about. Okay, so thank you, compiler. You don't need to be that much of a spoiler, whatever. So the name is gonna be name, and the control is gonna be the form.control, just like this for now. And then here's where things get interested. We need a render, and inside of the render, so inside of the render, we are going to destructure the field, and after the destructuring of the field, we are going to immediately return, and what we are going to return is a JSX, and we are going to return a form control because it's a control component. And come on, and the form control is it receives children as props, and inside of it we are going to return a form item. There we go. What are you complaining? Are you not imported? Yeah, you were not imported. Okay, so inside of the form item, here's where we can actually use this whole thing that we got from v0, like that. And it's complaining because we are not using the field, but we are going to use it just now. Let me just do this. Okay, so we have ourselves a form field that is a self-closing element. Inside of it we have the name and the control, that the control comes from the form, and the forms comes from our constant form that we defined here. So here it has the control that it's going to do like the register. So that means that when you type something, it actually gets to the form state. That's another thing. Take a look at what we are using, why we are using React Hook Form. We don't have a state here to hold the value of what you are typing inside of the input. We are using the state from the form. We don't actually see it because we are using the form, because we are using the form control, and the form control takes care of everything, that the register and everything. You can use it manually. I mean, maybe if you destructure here, yeah, the form state, and probably you can destructure the register function, or no, the register function you bring in from React Hook Form, as long as all the other stuff that we are bringing in. Okay, so let's get to it. After we bring everything that we need, what we do with this field? This field, with the structure, I mean, we pass in all of the other props, and we pass in the field right here. So this is how you use React Hook Form alongside Shadcn UI, alongside Zod, with TypeScript and Next.js. And if I save this, it's probably gonna be a little CSS change. No, okay. So nothing really went on. All right, yeah, so everything's still the same. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and rework all the other fields, and then we are going, and you will see the Thanos thing. All right, so we'll be back. Okay, boom, we're back from the thing. What was it called? The bleep or the bling? Yeah, the bleep, beep. I don't know, something like that on the Avengers. All right, so we got everything reworked as a form field. So we are using React Hook Form's component across everywhere on our form, right? Just a heads up, I removed the date of birth. I mean the date, because it demanded a rework on the calendar, and it's gonna take forever. So maybe I'll do another video later how to fix the Shadcn calendar. All right, so again, there's no visual effect on our form. So what we could do right now is we could go to the console and let's try to write some stuff, and let's see. You see, I already tried to submit and there's an error. Right now we are having errors. We are already validating, because if you remember the onSubmit function, it was already doing the console log of the data just like it gets. All right. So if it's not outputting whatever it comes, it's because we need to write something, right? As you can see, the password here, test, and yeah, it's too short, so test 1 2 3 4. Yeah, test 1 2 3 4, and there we go. So what we are seeing here, I have my email, whatever, yeah, phone there, right? Good. So what's the problem that we are seeing right now? That the selects, they're not working. You see, there's nothing going on the selects. So let's try to fix that. So if we go to any select, for example, the gender, we will see here that we have the primary component, the select, and we are passing down all the props with the spread operator, and we are passing down the field as a prop. But we need to pass down another prop for this select, and let's just highlight everything, and let's do Command D or Control D, I think, on Windows, and let's select all of the selects. It's so redundant, right? So after we highlighted all of the selects, let's pass down this one on value change, I think it was. On select change, on value change. Yeah, I think it was on value change. And then we will say field that on change. And yeah, and remember, the field comes from the structuring of the render method of React Hook form. All right, so let's save it and let's try to, yeah, okay. So I can pass down my gender, my whatever, yeah, from B0, and I can pass down some phone number, and let's see, yeah, you see United Healthcare, gender male, and payment method PayPal. Okay, so we got everything. Good. Now we are starting with the video. I mean, the previous, I don't know, the previous, what, 40 minutes was just to get things here, just for this. Now, if we do a phone, you see that it takes away all of your capacity for a navbar, everything, and you can imagine what it will look like if you have a lot of things going on. Yeah, you will tell me, yeah, Santiago, but you are not actually doing responsive design. Yeah, of course. I mean, I can do grid calls 1, and then I can say that beyond MD I can do this. Yeah, of course, it will look okay, right? But it's everything is broken. Yeah, and then I could say probably here that I could set overflow to auto, maybe. Yeah, I can do overflow auto, and everything will work. I mean, most of it, right? We could do height of, I don't know, 70 viewport height, something just to get past. And yeah, you see, and we could work around maybe with this, but it's not actually what you want to do. What you want to do, you want to do a multi-step form here, because we don't want to oversaturate our actually, I'm gonna leave this right here. Oh no, I'm just gonna leave a grid call of 1 and be over with. Yeah, so here's where things get interesting. Okay, so it sucks, right? It's horrendous, it's awful, even worse on web. Okay, So before we do anything, let's do this. I'm gonna create a new folder and I'm gonna call it hooks. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave here, maybe. No, because it doesn't make sense. I'm gonna create a new folder called multi-step form, and I'm gonna paste this one inside, and then inside of this folder, inside of this one, let's just take it out. Yeah, multi-step form. Okay, now I'm gonna create a new file here, and it is a hook. So normally what I am struggling with is where to place the hook, because I need to create a hook to abstract all of the business logic, because it's gonna get wild now. But before we do that, let's go ahead and let's do the rework of the business logic a little bit later. All right, so let's bring in React. So IMR, yeah. So we have React. Good. Now I'm gonna use the snippet, use state snippet. I'm gonna call it step. Set step to 1, and I don't like to have multiple imports. Yeah. So I use React that use state, because if you have use state, use effect, use memo, use callback, you will have 4 different imports. And if you just import React and then you just say, hey, React that use state, React that use effect, React that whatever, you save some lines. I don't know, it's just some some compulsive thing. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. All right, so we have our step, right? And so now let's use our step here, and let's say what do we want to see? So I would like to see, for example, my contact information before or after, I don't know, whatever. So let's say that we are going to wrap the name, last name, phone, and maybe the gender. Yeah, maybe gender and the gender. So let's wrap these 4 things together, and we'll save the email, yeah, for later. Okay, so as you can see, I don't like to have everything expanded, because right now this code is giving me like major compulsive things. I don't know, in Spanish we call it TOC, compulsive disorder or whatever. Yeah. All right, so we said that we are going to wrap the name, the last name, the phone, and the gender together. So let's do that right now. So let's say we are going to open up square brackets, and we are going to use JavaScript to say, or TypeScript, whatever. We're going to say, hey, step equals to 1 and we're going to render, Jesus, all of this. And yeah, it's gonna complain because we cannot render multiple stuff. So let's do a fragment like a parent, and we should be good to go, right? I guess no. Okay, so step, oh yeah, because we are in step 1. Good. Yeah, obviously we are in step 1. Now let's do the same for what we can wrap here: the email, password, confirm password, and payment method. Yeah, so email, yeah, so let's bring the payment method, yeah, email, password, yeah, let's bring it at last, like this. Let's collapse it. Now I already know that we need to wrap things with a parent, so we could use a div, or well, so we got what, 1, 2, 3, no, yeah, the email here. All right, yeah, here. You see, it's not so easy. And now I need to collapse everything again. This is only to make things easier to see and to identify what we're dealing with. Okay. All right, so now that we have our component here, our fragment, I can say step equals to 2, and we can render that one out. You see, it is starting to look better, right? Okay, now for the passport and health insurance, we can wrap these ones and say step equals to 3, and yeah, and we can wrap this like this. What? No. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we got ourselves the first step, and the first step is just this, right? The name, last name, phone, and gender. All right, so how do we even navigate through the steps? You see, now it's more, yeah, this is quite old. We don't need this one. Okay, so now it's more just understandable. Sorry for the noise. We have ourselves a first step, a second step, and a third step. All right, so now we need a function to navigate through the steps. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it, I don't know, const handle next step, and then I'm gonna go ahead and say, hey, if the step, let's just do it, and then we'll take it from the error to previously. Okay, so set step, yeah, we take the previous value and then we increment. By the way, this is the correct way of setting a state in React when you're dealing with numbers. You need to take in account the previous value, and then you add, you add or you subtract, whatever you want to do it. Okay, so this is our function. Now, yeah, we will deal with callbacks later on also. Okay, so we got ourselves a handle next step, and let's go ahead. Yeah, you see, and our handle previous step. Okay, good. Now here on the footer, we are going to say, obviously the submit is going to be at last, right? So we are going to say step equals to 3 and the button. Yeah, so we don't have a button because the submit is supposed to be at last. Okay, so so let's just put the buttons there and be done with it. So button back and button continue. No, like continue next. Yeah, there we go. That's what I want to see. Okay, great. And now I can say to the footer, nah, not on the footer. So let's call it variant secondary, but only the back. Yeah, so it catches your eye, this next one. Okay, so variant, what do you have here? No, I just wanted the default one. Okay, great, good. All right, so sorry about the cops there. Okay, so we could do, I don't know, a flex and justify items, justify end. Yeah, and let's give it a gap of 5. Yeah, it already looks better. Yeah, that back button is, I don't quite like it. So bg gradient to br from slate 600 to slate 800. Nah, bg slate 700. Whatever, let's just go as it is. I don't have time for this, and neither you want to see the full. You want to see the the multi-step thing. Okay, so here's where we are going to start dealing with multi-stepping or multi-step our form. So let's go ahead and bind the functions. So I'm just gonna, come on, yeah. Why can't I just, yeah, on click, we're going to say handle step, and I know that this one is handle previous, Jesus, sorry for the misclick, handle previous step. Great, good. Okay, come on, great. Now, I'm pretty sure that if I click here, you see, this is how we multi-step our form. And this is the create button. Yeah, I'm not gonna go that deep into CSS. I could go, and you will love it, but I'm going to take forever. Now, the problem is, what if I go back and there's nothing there? You see, step is what? 1, -1, 0, -1, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to take that into account. So let's rework the we don't need the page anymore. So let's rework the previous step. So we are going to say Control X or Command X. I'm going to say if step is bigger than 1, I'm gonna say this. No, Jesus. Okay, so I shouldn't be able to subtract. So I mean, yeah, so if step is greater than 1, subtract it, right? What am I doing wrong here? Oh, too long, too many hours. Oh, yep. I'm reworking the handle next step. Yeah. Oh man, it's been quite a coding episode, right? So let's rework the handle previous step. So I know that this condition can only be true if the step is greater than 1. Only if it is greater than 1, I can do this. And probably I could optimize this and say step, yeah, as Copilot is saying, step is greater than 1, and yeah, probably this. Step is greater than 1. Why is it? Okay. Yeah, but there are ways to optimize this. All right, so now if I try to, yes, there we go. We cannot go, we cannot set the step to anything lesser than 1. And now let's rework the next step to the opposite. So if step is greater than, it's less than 3, lesser, minor than 3, we are going to do the handle next step. There we go. And now there's no point in even showing the next step here. So let's go ahead and let's take away the next step on the last thing. Okay, great. Now I want you to take a I want you to pay attention, really pay attention on this. We have multiple buttons, right? We have the submit button, we have the back button, and we have the next button. Now, because these two buttons, they don't have a type, they are the form is going to infer that these two buttons, they are type of submit. So in order for us to prevent the submission of the form, when we don't want to, you need to say that the button is type of button and not type of just type button, like this. Good. Because what's gonna happen is, just as soon as you get to step number 3, boom, it will prompt the form. And I think that it was already doing that. Just let me take away these two. Yeah, I saved it. And now if you see, no, because I thought that it was doing the focus on the passport there, but no, it was not. Okay, so now let's take away this next button, and let's say step is lesser than 3, and yeah, so yeah, so there's nothing there, just create on the back. I'm back. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just leave the back button for now. Okay, great. Now you will be wondering about the validation, right? Okay, but before we start to validate, this is already escalating beyond what I tolerate about tidiness, or the code is not clean to my eyes. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna create a new folder here, and I'm gonna call it hooks, and I'm going to create a new file called use multi-step view model.tsx, and I'm going to export. By the way, this is a snippet. I don't remember the name. I'm gonna look it after, but it's like React, JavaScript, ECMAScript 7, something like that, the snippet. And if you do ENDF, it's gonna do the export default named function. So you do this, you type enter, boom, and you see you already have the export the default function. And I'm gonna call this hook use multi-step view model. I'm going to erase everything, and you see, yeah, Copilot pretty much knows. I think that it's already, I think it's maybe trained to take a look at your code and understand what you're dealing with. Okay, so here we're going to have all the business logic of our form. We're not going to have anything on the form redundant, the form component. So I'm going to go ahead and bring React, SOD, React Hook Form, the resolver, everything there. So I am going to break the application, because I'm going to cut this, bam, and I'm going to paste it here. Actually, let's just leave it for now. Let's just leave it, and then I'm going to bring the schema. We could create a schema, but if you have another folder called schema, and then the schema you are using on this hook, I mean, you know, if you don't use it anywhere else, just leave the schema inside of the hook. If you don't use it anywhere else, maybe if you do a full-scale application, it is meaningful for you to abstract the logic of the schema and place it on a different folder. Yeah, by all means, do it. I'm not gonna do that right now here on this demo application. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy the schema, and I'm going to paste it here. Why do I do it here on the top? Because if I do it inside of the hook and something happens, some value changes and the hook re-renders, everything that is here will redeclare again, and this will be redeclare. And if you put it here, it will not be redeclared. So that's something important to take into considerations. Maybe in web it's not that much of a deal, but I say it with a smile because it made me suffer it is a big deal in in mobile applications. Okay, so we are over 1 hour. This is not an easy thing to do. Okay, so now let's keep on doing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and everything that has to do with the form, I'm gonna copy it and I'm going to paste it inside of the form. Okay, good. You can see we got rid of the errors from the schema and the sites. Now we need to do more imports. So now we can just import it here. Use form. Yeah, there we go. So resolver, is it important? Yeah, it is. Okay, now nothing here is being used. Okay, so the thing about a custom hook that as we are using right now is that we can return something from our hook, and what we are going to return is everything that the form needs in order to operate. So take a look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to erase everything from here, and you see that everything is broken. Everything breaks, it's complaining. I'm gonna take away the use form, the form as well, the resolver, React, everything. I got rid of everything. Okay, great. Now on our form, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to return a React that use memo, and now you're going to say why, or you're going to ask why, because I could return just like this. I could return the step, just like Copilot says, right? All the functions, and you see the hook is already on, and let's just go ahead for like this for now. So we got ourselves the step, the form that we need, the unsubmit, the functions, yeah, everything. Okay, good. Now okay, so we have our custom hook that returns the state, the step, and returns the form and the functions to run the form, this multi-step form, right? So this is one of the solid principles. I mean, not quite, but it's like an adaptation. We are abstracting the logic of how the form works, and we are placing inside of the hook. And this has to do with the S of the solid principles, that stands for single responsibility. That means that this component, the multi-step form, doesn't need to know how it works. The multi-step form only needs to render stuff and to register stuff. That's two responsibilities already, but the better that you can strip away the business logic, in this case, in my opinion, this is very opinionated, the better. Keep in mind that the solid principles, they were designed for for object-oriented programming. This is not quite what we are doing here, but we can adapt some stuff in order to make somehow best practices. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it a view model, const view model, and this is going to be equals to use multi-step view model, like this. Sorry. And we got ourselves a view model, and if you hover over the view model, you're going to see that it's an object, because that's what the hook is returning. It's returning an object with the step, the form, and the form, you take a look at what it has. It has all the stuff that we need, and it's also returning the submit, the handle previous, and the handle next step is what we are returning here with our custom hook, right? Okay, great. So what we need to do now is I'm going to do it on one fix, and then I'm going to just multi-cursor or whatever you call it. So if I say here view model that form, that error is going to go away, because remember that the form is inside of the view model. You see, form, and this is how the logic, it's on a different component, And here, if I don't know, maybe tomorrow or the next week, the senior developer says, "Hey, Santiago, we are not going to use the sort resolver anymore and Zod at all. We are going to use Up." Okay, so then I don't need to do anything on this component. I'm going to do everything, I mean, not everything, but what I need on this component, on this custom hook, because the business logic is abstracted here. All right, so now here, the unsubmit, obviously the form doesn't exist here. It exists inside of the view model, that form, and the unsubmit function, where is it? It's on the view model, you see? Unsubmit. So here again, view model that unsubmit. And the step is again is here on the custom hook that we are returning here on the return of the custom hook. So I'm gonna go ahead and say view model that step. Great. Now here, I'm gonna place the cursor at the beginning and say view model. Boom. And yeah, oh yeah, the control. Okay, so the form.control, this was before the rework. So I select everything, view model that, boom. And everything should work just the way it was. It was working. As you see, it works. All right. I know, just a little bit of humor. Okay, so before we get to validation, we need to talk about use callback and use memo. Even though React 19 is around the corner, I mean, it's probably going to be the standard in the next couple of builds, not builds, but projects. But most likely, we are going to be working with React 18 or 17, probably, and the React engine, the compiler, sorry, the React compiler is not optimizing this as when you build, right? So you need to understand why we use a callback or why we use a use memo. And the thing that we want to do is we are trying to avoid redeclaring or recalculating. In most cases is redeclaring functions if there is a re-render happening to the whole component. So that's why we use a use callback that has a dependency array, and it listens like a listener event to one of the dependencies, and if it changes, it redeclares the function or recalculates stuff when you have a use memo, that because you are returning a memoized values. So instead of just doing like this, I'm going to return use memo, but I'm going to say React use memo, and use memo takes so the use memo takes a callback and then dependency array, just like this. It's like a use effect, and it's also very similar to the use callback. So what we are going to return here also needs to be added as a dependency array, except of one thing that it's outside of the component, and that is the schema. So, but I mean, we are not going to return the schema. Yeah, okay. So for example, if I return the step, the dependency array will warn me and say, hey, use memo is missing a dependency. The step, either include it on the dependency array or remove it from the return. So if I remove it, hey, it's all good, but I want to return the step. So I need to also add as a dependency array here the step. I think I'm doing something wrong here. What am I doing wrong? Yeah, give me 1 second. Yeah, it's one of those things that really screws up your mind. If I'm using curly braces here, like an object, I need to do a return here. Yeah. So return and react that use memo of return step. I mean, and this sucks. So instead of using curly braces here, I'm gonna go ahead and use parentheses. I think that's the word in English for it, because we are going to return a lot of stuff here. So we got the step. So let's also return the unsubmit. Let's return the come on, you're already complaining again? Yeah, now it's gonna say what? That we need to, oh man. Sometimes you just really need to do a lot of stuff here. Come on, Jesus Christ. All right, so let's return the step, the unsubmit. Jesus, unsubmit. There we go. And now I'm just gonna use command and double multi-cursor, how you call it. And I'm going to return the handle previous step and handle next step. There we go. Good. And now you're going to see that slint is warning us about it's gonna change on every re-render, right? So what we need to do now is we need to wrap these functions with use callback here. That's what we need to do. Okay, so we are going to say for example, the unsubmit is gonna be equals to react that use callback, and we are going to say that this whole thing, yeah, like this, no, here, and the dependency array, and yeah, and we wrap everything with that. Good. Now here again, a react that use callback. We open up parentheses, we close it here, we pass the dependency array, but we need something on the dependency array probably. Why did I just what's going on? React that use come on. Use callback. Yep. Oh, it's because it doesn't have an argument, but we sure need that dependency array. And inside of the dependency array, we need the step probably. Yep. And the same for the handle the next step. So react that use callback. We open up there, we close up here, but we pass the dependency array with the step there. Okay, great, good. And now the error is that we are not returning the form. So we need to return the form in both cases. And you will see that, well, at least on my theme on Visual Studio Code, I have everything that it's like light blue or blue are constants, or it's not variable, so constants or states, and on yellow we have functions. So now I'm gonna put the form here. Yeah. Okay, so one more thing that I want to do is I actually want to have everything on different lines. Okay, so I guess that's too much to ask, right? It's too much. Okay, yeah, whatever. We will have different functions probably in the future. Okay, so we got ourselves our optimized custom hook with the use callback, and we use memo. Also, we have the step. Great, good. So now what we could do is add some validation to this, because right now we can but before that, I think that we also have a problem with the Okay, so let's take a look at this error. For example, it says that components cannot be given ref, so reference. Did you mean to use React.forward ref? And after some research on my previous job, I found out that the problem with Shadcn UI is that whenever you use the select function, the select has where is it? The select doesn't take the select doesn't take an ID. Sorry, a ref has an ID, a ref field. Sorry, a ref prop. And whenever you use the spread operator like this with the field, you are passing down the ref. So for example, here on the gender, you see here this, we are also passing the ref, even though it's not actually there probably. I don't know in which one of these objects the ref is, but we are passing down a ref, and the select element doesn't take a ref. That's why it is complaining. And you see, that's why it's saying that there is a forward ref. So we need to spread the operator, but we need to spread the props, but we don't have to pass the ref. So I think it's probably it's gonna be something like so let's spread everything but the field. So field and ref, maybe something like this, it will work. I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. So what I'm doing here is I am passing props to the select, and I'm saying, hey, spread, so make a copy of all the other props, pass the field, but on the ref pass an empty string. So that's interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Yeah, so I selected every single select with the field, and now I'm going to copy what I just did. Yeah, of course. Oh, right, because it's not empty string. It should be maybe undefined, maybe. Yes, we did it. I wasn't quite sure if that was going to be the fix. I thought that it was a different kind of property name. Okay, so good. We have ourselves the everything that we need to do. Yep. And we could probably, I mean, what do we have? 2, so we have 10, right? 4, 8, 10. So we could wrap in 2s and we make 5 steps, but that's gonna take too much. I mean, I don't like that. I mean, I could use a fixed height to fix the CSS here, but I'm not gonna go that deep into CSSing CSS the whole demo project. Just remember that it's a demo and we are way over 1 hour now. Okay, so now let's go with the validation. Okay, so we said that we were going to use some validations. So obviously we don't want to allow the user to go ahead with the form, right? Okay, or what we could do is we could create a component here that shows or indicates where we are, in which step we are, right? What about that? Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and let's do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and where's the form? Here. Okay, so all right, so what else? So if I render something here, information, whatever, it's gonna be on everything. Yeah, okay, so here's where we want to have that component, right? And we have 3 steps. Okay, So what we could do now is we could have a section here, and instead of the section we write article times 3, and then we have, I don't know, 1 2 3. You see, 1 2 3. Great. No. All right, so now let's give it a grid. Is it a grid or, yeah, whatever. Grid calls 3. Yeah. Or we could use a flex. Let me do a little bit of research here. All right, so let's see how we do it. How we do this. Okay, so we want to have the information here, like, hey, this is the personal information, this is the account information, and this is, I don't know, access information, whatever. So let's go ahead and say, I don't know, personal information. Yeah, personal information, name as main. Then let's go ahead and say account information, and then finally I don't know, whatever, passport information. It doesn't really matter because it's a demo, and then you will give it a proper meaning to your stuff, right? Okay, good. Now we could do something here. So I'm gonna go ahead and abstract everything and do a component out of this. So I'm gonna say, for example, a div, a self-closing div, to show a bar there. Yeah, great. And of course it's taking away this. So yeah, okay. All right, so the thing is, we need to render 3 different bars, and we are going to do it right here, and then I'm going to map over it, and it's gonna be pretty, but for now it's gonna be ugly. So let's do I'm not gonna be able to, yeah. Okay, great. So, and now let's give it a class name of h4, or yeah, with 3/4. I mean, 3/4 is like 80 something percent, 75%. Oh yeah, sorry, it's just too late. Yeah, 3/4 is 75%. 1 medium is 50%, obviously. All right, so, and now let's give it a bg of, I don't know, whatever, Slate 800. Yeah, way too much, right? Yeah, way too much. Yeah, but, and actually let's put this on top of the thing. No, that was not what I intended to do. Let's see if I get this right. Oh, yes. Okay, but now I need to get rid of all the, yeah, I should have cut instead of just copying. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, great. Now h4 is too much, so let's do h3. It's 2 h2. Yeah, there we go. Great. Good. All right, great. Now let's actually create a new component for this, and let's call it, we can put this one right here because it's a reusable component. If you have multiple step forms, you have different forms across your page, you will have this. So let's call it, I don't know, step object .tsx, step object, and let's return what we have here. Okay, great. Boom, boom, bada ba boom. Yeah. Okay. So step object. Amazing. Now, in order to make this reusable, I'm gonna go ahead and create an interface called props, the number, and the, what can we call it, like the object, or yeah, or just data maybe. Okay, data. Now, what is the form of this data? Here's where we need to think about it. So the data should have like a label or something. Actually, let's call this step labels. Step labels. Yeah, labels, because it's multiple label. Okay, step labels. All right, now, what is the type of data? So let's go ahead and create a type. Type data, and this is going to be equal to an ID. That's gonna be a number, a string, whatever. Yeah, let's go ahead number, because we are going to use the ID to compare against the compare with the step. Yeah. So we got the ID, a title, let's string, a description. Yeah, compiler already knows this stuff. Fields. Okay, great. And field is a string. But this is for later. This is not for now. Note. Later. Okay, great. Why all of this? So data is of type data. Okay, maybe you want to call it, I don't know, come on, man. Too case sensitive, so data type. Maybe, I don't know. Or we could just type here, but if I create the object here, I mean, I could do it just here, you know. I could use the ID. I mean, I could type here, but I already know that this data type, I'm going to export it and I'm going to use on the hook as well. You'll see. Okay, so now let's use these props. So the step and the data, they will come from props. Okay, great, awesome. Now, and now here, the step object is complaining about not having the data, right? It's saying, hey, what is the data? What is the step? Yeah, and remember, we will not have anything here related to the business logic inside of the form component. Everything will be on the hook. Okay, so for now, we can use the hook, and inside of our hook, let's create this here, because I know that's gonna be just one use. I don't need it inside of the hook. I just need to return this. So let's go ahead and create our const step object, and this is equal to not equal, but we need to type it. So let's export the data type. Yeah, and let's rename it to step object type. Yeah. Now we are going to export this. Why do we export it? Because we are going to use this type to create an object here. Step object type. There we go. Yeah, and it's an array. It will be an array of objects. Sorry, an array of objects. Come on, man. telling you? There we go. Now, if we hover over this type that we just created, we have there that the object has the shape of an ID, a title, and a description. All right, good. So that's the shape that our step object must match. So if I do a command escape or whatever in Windows, I already have the first object. So I have the ID, and let's call it, I don't know, 1, the title, personal information. And what I'm doing now is I am going to replace this generic static JSX with my object. So personal information, and now the description. Yeah, enter your personal description, whatever. And now the fields. For now, let's leave the fields. Yeah, we don't have fields. Okay, great, perfect. Let's leave it like that. What is it complaining about? Yeah, that it's never used. Okay, great. Now we need a second object and a third object, because we have 3 steps, if you remember. So ID 2. Wait, is it? No. Okay, I thought I was account information. Yeah, whatever. So account information and passport information. Great, passport. And this is 3. Great, enter. It's all very, yeah, you can do whatever when you do your application. This is just to illustrate. Okay, great. Now it is complaining that we are not using it anywhere else. So we need to return it on our use memo. I mean, not our use memo, on our form. Sorry, on our hook. But this is what I told you. We are returning this, but we don't need it inside of the dependency array because it's not being declared inside of on the component, on the hook. That means that it doesn't matter if there are, I don't know, tens of thousands of re-rendering. You don't need it to be here, or you don't need it a use callback, because it will not be recalculated or redeclare this object. It is a static object, and it will always hold the same values. That's why you just need to return it inside of the use memo. Okay, so great. Now we are returning on the use memo. Now we have that here a multiple line, just like I wanted. We are returning the step object. Great. So inside of our form, yeah, let's put the hook to the, no, actually let's put the hook on the middle. Yeah. So as you remember, on our component, yeah, this is the default name when we use v0. But then when you import it, you change the name here to, I mean, you change the name to whatever. Okay, so now we need a data, and we also need a step. So the step, you already know that it's here on the view model, that step. So great. And now the data, where do we find the data? The data is the view model, that step object. No? It's missing the following properties: step object type, ID, title. Wait, come on. Why? Oh, right. Yeah, but here is an array. Yeah, good. That's why. Yeah, because we are going to map over the data. I mean, I know that it is probably gibberish, and it looks like weird what I'm doing, but for someone that has a little bit of experience working with TypeScript and reworking components in order to make arrays and reusable arrays with TypeScript, he or she already knows what I'm intending to do. Okay, so what? All right, so let's go back to our step object, and now we can already start doing our magic. So let's just get rid of this, and yeah, and I need to close the article. Yeah, great. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say yeah, I need to open a JavaScript expression and say, hey, data that map, and I'm gonna map an item, and I'm going to return this article right here, and the key will be the data that the item that ID. Great. And now instead of personal information, we are going to say the title. So what was the title? Why do we have a div here? Oh yeah, that is the bar. Great. So inside of the article, let's say item that title, and now you will see how we have everything just like it was, right? Great. This is what we wanted. Okay, so also here, let's say text sm. Yeah, because I don't want it to be like that. All right, great, perfect. Now what else? We can wrap this like this, and we could say that if the item that ID if the step is greater or equal that item that ID, something happen here, something else will happen here. So let's just say, I don't know, text emerald 600 or nothing. You see, yeah, we are on the first one, we already have the second one, and we have the last one. Great, perfect, amazing, guys, amazing. We are doing it. We can, yes, we can. Okay, great. So we can also do the same thing here. By the way, this is called template strings, and it allows us to use yeah, now I realize that whenever I use this kind of strings, the video will pause because that's my shortcut on OBS. So you probably watch me do like this, like, yeah. So I am knowing now that this is a kind of a mistake to have those. I'm gonna leave it like that. Okay, so as I was saying, this is called template strings, and it allows us to embed JavaScript inside of class names, for example, in this case. All right, so I'm gonna say now the same. If the step is greater or equal to the item that ID, that means that if the step is, when we are on step 1, that means it's gonna compare against this one, personal information, and then when you go to step 2, it will compare the number 2 of the step against this one. That's how we are achieving this goal, right? Great. So so this I don't want to pause the video anymore for you, so yeah. What's wrong here? Oh yeah, the double thing here. Great, good. All right, and now we can use this one again, and we can paste it there. And yeah, it was not the background. Yeah, it is a background. Yeah, that's why. Great. Good. Everything's good, and we can go. I'm just so much in love with CSS that I can't let this slip. 8700. Yeah, that's better. And yeah, okay. And we can maybe round this, round it, right, MD. Yeah, something like that. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, so now when we go to the next step, you see we are completing, the steps. Okay, good. All right, so we got everything that we need here, and you see, and where are we? Jesus, this is wrong. Yeah, of course. Step labels, capital camel case. Okay, so and where are we defining the shape of the step object inside of the view model? Here. If I change something here, you will see it there. And remember, I changed the value, but you see, I need to refresh. And why? Because I changed the value, but I told you that it will never change unless that you do it on the code. And because we are returning a memoized version of the step object, even though I changed it already, I change it back to where it was, it will not show up there. I need to refresh. There we go. And that's it. Okay, so now we are able to go to the validate our form. Okay, so in order to validate our form, we need to use a method from React hook form called trigger. And trigger, what it does is, as the name suggests, it will trigger the validation of the form. So, and it looks something like this. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. But the thing is that since we already did this, we need to assign the field to the step object in order to validate it. I mean, it's not really necessary, but it will definitely be easier for us because we need to get the fields. And how do we get the fields? So the easiest way is just, hey, you know that this is the step one and it just has this on the label. But what if I add here fields and then I do an array of this? That's interesting, right? And if I do here fields and I do an array. Okay, so I forgot that when I was typing the single quotes, my OBS froze, so I spoke and I coded for like 5 or 10 minutes before I realized that VS Code here was on pause. So just to recap, what I did was I added the remaining fields, and in order for this to work, I don't know if I showed you, I had to add this field to the step object type, that is what is typing the data, but we are not using the fields on this. This is only using the data to map over it and show the title, and to use and to evaluate the step against the ID in order to show the color, and that's it. So that's the only thing. All right, so sorry about that. Yes, okay, so now what I wanted to say is that we already have validation in our form, even though there's nothing going on the submit or on the next step, that is where we want to have our validation. The form itself has a validation, you just don't see it. For example, if I go to the last step here and I use the submit, for example, there I clicked the submit, but you don't see anything, right? You don't see here on the console log all the information from the form, right? That means that the submit is already validating, even though you are not seeing it. So for example, if I go to the form and I add this form message right on the label, and I put some CSS to make it appear next to the label. If I go back now, remember that I tried to submit the form. In case you forgot, I am submitting the form, so it's validating. You see, the name is too short. It is validating. So now I'm going to add this form message and the CSS to every other field, and we will be right back. So let's do the Thanos thumb thing. All right, so what I'm doing now is I am adding some messages to different fields. For example, health insurance, I'm saying select health insurance, and yeah, so now if I refresh, yeah, okay, so everything is working. I just need to work on the CSS, so let's get to it and I'll be right back. Okay, all right, so there we go. Now everything is working perfect. Now we could even take this one step further, sorry, and say justify between, I don't know, something that you could experiment on your apps. Maybe it makes sense for you, maybe it doesn't. For me, it just doesn't make sense to have it like that. All right, so back to validation, because now we are validating only when we reach on the final step, right? That is not the purpose of the video. We want to validate before we go on the next step. So how do we do that? So we come to the function that it's in charge of handling the next step here, this one. So I'm gonna place a comment here that note this function controls the next step and the validation of the steps. Jesus, there we go. All right, so what do we need to do here? First, we need to extract what are the fields that we are going to validate, and how do we know that? So we say const fields, and Copilot is, yeah, of course. Okay, so what is the step object? Remember that in this custom hook we created this step object, and here we have the fields. So take a quick look at the power of this step object. We are using it to map over it and show these labels or the information on the step of the form, and also we are going to use it to have the fields, and we are going to validate using that. So I'm going to say step object, and this is the important part. We are going to say, hey, step object, and how do we know which position of the array to access? It's on the position of the step -1 that fields. Why is it step -1? Because if you remember arrays, data structures, they don't start from 1, they start from 0. So if you say step object in position step, just like this, you are going to be position yourself on the first step. You are going to be position yourself here. So let me run you through it. You start the step with number 1, right? Here, this step. And when you hit next, you are going to extract here the fields of the step object, this whole thing, on the position of the step, that is 1. And remember, this is 0 and this is 1. So you are going to access the wrong information. That's why you need to subtract 1 here. I mean, could I use a different step here? Yeah, maybe, but I don't want to initialize the step on 0. I mean, it's just having a little bit of knowledge about JavaScript, and that's it. All right, so we have here the steps, right? I mean the fields. So before doing this, I'm gonna comment this out, and I'm gonna do a console log. By the way, this is another snippet. It's called CLO. You use console log object, and I just type fields, and then I will have everything here. So if I do next, there we go. You see, name, last name, phone, and gender, and those are the fields that I am going to validate the step against. All right. Okay. So now we need to validate, and how do we validate? Is like this: const. We could say is valid, but I don't quite like that name. We could say validated field equals to, and we need to use the trigger function from React Hook form, and the trigger function, it's an asynchronous function, so we need to await form that trigger fields like that. But before we do that, we need to transform this is callback here, I mean the function, to an async await function, and this just doesn't work like this because it will have a type problem. Yeah, so we need to say as field name, maybe field name of, yeah, that was what I wanted to say. So that insert type of create user schema array. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so this whole gibberish code, what it's doing is it's triggering the validation of the form, and we are passing these fields that we extracted from the object with the current value that they have when you hit the next button, and it's passing them and it's given the shape of this schema on the form of an array, and it's validating. So, and now you will see, and this, the form that trigger, if you do a hover, look, this is why we use async await, because it returns a promise that needs to be resolved. So if you don't use async await, you will need to do with .then, .cat. I don't want to deal with that, not here at least. So, and the result is a boolean. So after this, I will say, for example, CLO validated fields. And right now, if I do next, what? Yeah, you see, it's false. So it is not validated, and you see it. Take a look. I don't need to do anything else, and it is not allowing me to continue with the thing. I mean, yeah, obviously because I commented this one out. Sorry. So if I refresh now, it will work. And also I need to add here maybe the form. So now it will validate, but it will go on. You see, it is validated. The validated fields were false. If you go back, you will see that they are false. So what we need to do, simple. Just add here and validated fields, just like that. So it will ask for the truth value of validated fields. If we save now, we refresh. Boom, ta-da, and there we have our validation. And yeah, and then you will go on with other type of validation. So I guess that for now, this is how you validate the whole form. So now if I add, for example, Santiago, and I add whatever phone, and I add my gender, I could go to the next step. Of course, I can go, you see, true. And if I go back, the error messages are gone, and we retain, this is important, we retain the value of the fields because we are using the form state. We are using the state that is inside of the React hook form library. I mean, not the library, but the instance of the React hook form. And that is important to notice, because we are, take a look at here when we are rendering different stuff here. We are unmounting this whole thing, these components. We are taking them away from our application, but the values, they remain there because they are inside of the view model that form. That's why we can still access, and those values are there. Now if I go here and if I try to go ahead, you see there are stuff that I need to enter now. There are problems with the schema, that only the payment method it's required here probably, but now I can say, hey, debit card, and I can go to the next step. You see, let's try to fix the email thing, because I don't like to leave things halfway done. Why isn't it? Because the email, oh right, yeah, you see it doesn't have a minimum, for example, in this case. Yeah, this is only the case if the email is invalid. If you type something that it's not valid email, like, I don't know, John Doe, but you need to say that minimum, I don't know, 5, and then you say message. All right, so I figured out what was wrong, and here is the problem. Take a look at this. We have one element, another one, another string, and another string. Take a look at this. We have one big string here. Jesus Christ. So instead of cutting the video, I'm just gonna try to fix like this. There we go. All right, so now we should be seeing the error message on the email. So let's go again. Whatever phone, gender. Yes, there we go. Email, password, confirm password. Okay, so email, whatever my email, a password, test 1 2 3 4 5, and now let's deal with this. And I'm gonna go ahead with test 1 2 3 4, payment method, PayPal. And if I put a password and whatever, but let's take a look at this. You see the password, where is it? Confirm password is test 1 2 3 4, but password is 1 2 3 4 5. So we need to do something to actually confirm this, right? So let's deal with this now. So in our schema, I told you that it was here. You see the to do? All right. So after you close the object here, you need to pass a function called refine. So let's take away this comment. And now, oh Jesus, Copilot. So let's refine, and the way this works is you have a data and you return something like data that password is equal to data that confirm password. And this data is coming from this whole object, meaning this. When you hit the next button, and in every step it's going to try to do another validation, and it's going to say, hey, whatever value you have on this object, do the following, and it's going to say, and it will evaluate the data, that password, I mean the same object, the password and the confirmed password, and if they are not equal, then you do this, and I think that inside here you say yeah, the message that the password don't match. And now if I refresh and I put some dummy data here, and I put for example password, I put test 1 2 3 4, and the confirmed password test 1 2 3 4 5, I should get that error message. Oh Jesus, we did not. Why? Okay, so let's see here. The schema, here password, confirm password, payment method. It's all good. It's all good. Why? Sub schema refine confirm password. Okay, let's see. Yeah, super refine. Okay, there's a path there. Okay, this is ours. Okay, message. All right, so there's a path. Okay, I forgot about that. Let's see. Why is it? Oh yeah, you see, path. Okay, and the path is, yeah, the confirmed password as an array. Yeah, and then we will match. Probably we should do both, right? Password and confirm password. Like, I don't want to pause the video again by mistake, so I'm gonna do it like this. Password. So now let's try again, and I will put some dummy data. Password is too short. Okay. Test 1 2 3 4. Test 1 2 3 4 5. Undefined. Okay. Undefined. Still getting undefined. Okay, there. Password do not match. Yeah, it's because the password do not match. Probably the path only accepts maybe one. Yeah, but that's it. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much it. Like, if I take away this, yeah, And yeah, I mean, I could show the password here. You want to do that? You want me to show the password? Okay, let's show the password, because I know that you want a full video. All right, so in order to show the password, we will have to add another state to our view model here. So let's say the use state snippet. It should be named is or something like that to is view, is active, is whatever. Let's call it show password. I mean, the proper name should be is something, because for booleans, I mean, that's like a unnamed convention. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a const handle show password, and is equal to React that use callback, and here I'm gonna pass down a function, and I'm going to listen to the show password, and probably the set password as well. Okay, so I'm going to, yeah, pretty much that's it. And what is it asking me to the set show password, or maybe nothing? Yeah, set show password. Great. All right, so we have a function to hold a boolean, and then a function to toggle the boolean. That means that every time we click on this, it's gonna place the opposite value inside of the state. And now we need to return this too. So let's show password, and the function was handle show password. That's it. What else? Oh yeah, well, obviously, Jesus, I forgot about that. I also need to you know what? Yeah, it's late. That's a problem. So show password. You also need here show password, comma, no complaints. And now I don't like this one here. Yeah. So handle show password, and also here handle show password, comma, and now we're going to have, yes, this is the shape that I wanted. I mean, I could use like something like slint, prettier lint, disable. I mean, I know that I used it once, but then I just said that this is just stupid. But you can disable that that feature of prettier to format the code as whatever you see fit. Okay, so I have the password and the thing. All right, so let's go ahead to, yeah, and now here let's type in show me the money. If anyone has played StarCraft, they will know this one. Show me the money, and I don't know, and a one from Doom. Okay, so here type password. All right, so yeah, so what I did was, I know that I only have 2 inputs with the type password, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna step, come on, here and here, these 2. I'm gonna open up template strings, and I'm gonna say, come on, it should have been multi-cursor. Okay, great. Now I'm writing both there. All right, so I'm gonna say view model that show password. I'm gonna pause the thing again. Come on. I'm gonna leave it like that, and I'm gonna leave it like this, because otherwise I'm going to pause the video, and I don't want to do that. So view model that show password, is it true? That. If it's not true, that. Okay, so there, 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 and there. Okay, great. All right, now, okay, so let's see the password. We type something. All right, show password is, yeah, it should start, it should be the opposite. It should or we could just change this, right? Yes, there we go. So we just type text and password. I mean, no, not really. We should say here. Sorry, my bad. Here. All right, there. Now we need to add the button there. So the way we do this is not that hard. I mean, there are probably different ways of doing it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to, where's the input here? Okay, I'm gonna wrap the input with a div, and I'm going to render, besides the input, I'm going to render a button from Shadcn with the eye icon from Lucid, just like that. And now you will see that if I comment this one out, we should see the, oh no, I didn't need to do that. Oh, come on. This is what I don't like when you start scaling things. Okay, great. Now I need to do here a class name of relative. But before I do that, let's go ahead and say variant ghost. Oh, it took me away here again. Come on, man. Why you make me suffer like that? Okay, great. And you see, this is what I told you. I click on this button and the form tried to trigger with the next button. Why? Because this button right here is of type submit, unless that you say, hey, you are a type button. You are just a regular old button. Okay, now it should work, but it's not working anymore. I mean, we already submitted the thing. All right, so, and I'm going to say a class name of absolute on this button, and it's gonna screw everything up. But now if I say, for example, top 2, you see it goes all the way to the top, because it is trying to find the closer relative position, and that is the whole HTML, I mean the document itself, unless that I type on this div, the parent, a relative. You're going to crack me up, don't you? Now, there we go. Now, how do we address this? How do we place it like we want, like in a somehow professional way? So we will say top 1 medium, and that's gonna bring it there, and we're going to say minus translate y1 medium. Yeah, and that is dead center with absolute position. And now it's just a matter of saying minus right, yeah, right 2 or 5 or whatever. Oh, come on. I know that you're probably wondering, why am I taking so much? Oh, wait, why? Yeah, this is all. Yeah, there we go. Write 5, write 2, write 1. Yeah, that looks okay, right? Yeah. All right, so I need to do the same thing with the other button. So I'm just gonna copy this here. And then I know that this is password, so this is not confirmed password, this is just password. And the placeholder is not confirm your password, it's enter your password. Enter. Yeah, it's okay, enter your password. Don't get me started with the whole camel case thing. It's not the place and time to do it. Okay, so we got ourselves the thing here on the input. If the type of the input, if the view model is show password, if not text. I mean, if it is not a type password, yeah, whatever. So now we can actually bind the, I mean, I think it's the only one with, yeah, you see, I have here's where VS Code is showing you where you are highlighting. So I got only those two that are of this kind of buttons. Okay, so now I can say on click, and I will say view model, view, what? Come on, suggest me. View, Jesus Christ, view model that handle show password. Boom. And now for the last time, if I go to the step 2 and I type in show me the money, and I say here, where is the money, Lebowski? You see, there we go. Where is the money, Lebowski? All right, and you see here the information about the form on top. Everything is working, and obviously the passwords do not match. So if I type show me the money, now the password, Jesus, now the password should match. Yeah, there we go. So this is it. And now if we console log the form, it will not work because we need a passport. And yeah, so this is how you control a multi-step form, how you validate a multi-step form, how you show information of the step on a multi-step form, how you use the select from Shadcn, how you fix the select from Shadcn. What else? How to Jesus, it's been I don't know, like 2 hours fully coding, and I'm not even done with the introduction video because I will need to do everything again. So no worries. I just wanted to show you this because it is something that I use on my almost every day, and I thought that it was something cool to show. Remember that we are not dealing with any database like Neon, like SQLite, MongoDB, anything. We are not dealing with databases. We are only using front-end validation in this case. And this is a way for a junior web developer to do at least a front-end validation and to use React Hook Form, because at the end of the day, React Hook Form does a lot more than that. React Hook Form comes with ARIA controls that they are very important. That thankfully we don't need to deal with that, and a lot of accessibility issues. They're gone away. We solve it just by using React Hook Form. We don't need a state to hold all of the values from the strings of the inputs. We don't need anything of that. We are just using React Hook Form. So I hope that you liked it. Oh, and a very important thing that we used here, we used the single responsibility principle of the solid principles. It's redundant. And we abstracted all of the logic. Let me show you again, just in case. We abstracted all of the logic from the step form, and we place it inside of a custom hook. Take a look at our hook. It's quite impressive. It's quite huge, and we have to be proud that we are able to abstract this logic, because if we need to change something on the business logic, we only do it here, but we leave this file untouched, because this file doesn't need to know how to do things. He just needs to say, hey, I have this function, then I'm going to pass it here, and it's inside of the view model. That's it, boom. And you see, this is the only thing that we need. We need to use a view model, and that's it. And then we use this view model to control the logic across the whole file. This is the power of abstracting the logic and place it inside of a custom hook. And this is something that I learned on my previous job as well, and it's something that really stuck with me for this past year. So I thought that it was something to give back to the community, so that's why I made this video. So I hope you liked it, and I don't know, maybe we see each other again. Maybe you want to see something different. I don't know. I got some stuff here, like to customize stuff. Just let me know. Bye. Yeah.